is no longer a concept of future. It's already in our doorsteps. And we can see a lot of dramatic changes happening all around us, especially in the IT industry. But when it comes to AI in IT industry, we should be more mindful about a lot of things like keeping AI in guardrails, being responsible. There are a lot of ethical concerns coming in. There are a lot of security issues in the picture. So in this session, we have Mr. Rao Chejarla. He's the CEO and founder of Expeed Software. We'll be talking a lot about how organizations are handling AI in this new era. We will be learning a lot from his experiences of handling text, etc. So, Rao, welcome to the session.
Hi, Akshay.
So, we are here to talk about our SaaS realm, how AI is, transforming the businesses, etc. But to start with, a thing was nagging in my mind since a couple of days that I happened to hear something, and it was very disturbing that AI is kind of killing SaaS, or that SaaS companies are going to die. Nowadays, like there are a lot of companies that we know, like Salesforce, etc. When I heard that statement, the first thing that came to my mind was, all these thriving SaaS companies out there, are they gonna just stop, working like out of the blue? What do you think about this? What do you think about this statement?
Yeah, it's definitely that is something that has been floating around for the last few weeks. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually they started calling it SaaSpocalypse.
Okay.
Stock market actually tumbled about 200 or 300 billion dollars around the world. Right. I think there's a lot of money lost in that. There is a real fear for sure, right? So when people say that SaaS is going to die, I feel like they're just telling half. Right? There is a half understanding of it. If you look at all the SaaS companies today, right, it has been very successful. All the applications, they're basically made for human beings to really orchestrate the process.
Right.
If you take any navigation or user story or use case, right? For example, like creating a shipment in logistics, or filing a claim in insurance industry. These are all. If you take the use cases, they involve probably like 5, 6, or sometimes even 20 screens where the user has to click through. Right. And then basically in that process, human being is orchestrating that whole workflow, right? We need screens because that is what human beings can understand.
Yes.
As we go into the future with this AI, as agents are going to absorb a lot of this workflow that is being orchestrated by human beings. Right. So all the front end flow is probably going to be happening behind the scenes and orchestrated by AI agents. So that means AI agents don't need screens actually. So the interfaces that are built for human consumption are going to die.
It's going to get reduced dramatically.
Yeah, it's going to either instead of having 20 screens, you might have few screens.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you don't even participate. The whole flow would be handled by the AI agents in the back end. When it needs you for some kind of approval or exception, it could just reach out to you in the form of some notification or something like that.
Right.
So if you take that approach, that is where I think the existing applications have to be transformed.
Got it.
Right, all the things they made so far it is for humans. That portion, if you take the humans out of the loop, I think there is a significant fear that these applications are going to die. But what we are missing is all these applications are not just screen flows. There is a real data, and there is a business logic. And all those things are still required, no matter who is interacting with them. Either human beings or agents, it doesn't matter. Still, the data is required, the business logic is required. So I think, as long as these companies adapt to really provide these APIs, I mean, you need to make sure that you have good APIs and all that. And I think that portion of SaaS will survive.
Right.
I think that's where I think people are thinking that everything is going to die. I think that is bigger reaction than required, I think.
Right. So I think rather than saying these companies are going to die, it's better to say that they are going to get transformed if they stay with the trend in a way, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to ignore AI these days. Like the way it is being, the way it's dominating all the fields is something extraordinary. So while talking about AI, it had already, had its clutches in the realm of app development. Nowadays, I can see a lot of people are actually developing apps on their own. I have tried one myself. So if looking at the future, I don't know, you see, I mean, looking at whatever is happening in this particular sector, is it possible that everybody are gonna create apps just like that? And I mean, it's gonna have a great ripple effect in the industry. What's your view on that?
I think there is a scope for people developing their own applications,
Right.
right? And then there is also very mission critical applications. You're not going to throw away and then develop your own, right? For example, if you're using, if you've been using like a Salesforce or SAP for a longer period of time, and then all your data is there, you're not going to just throw away and then develop your own application. It's very, very unlikely. But there are ad hoc kind of applications like data entry, administration, these kind of things. Definitely, people are, instead of buying off-the-shelf software for those kind of ad hoc use cases, organizations might be more willing to develop their own software. It's easier. Even if something happens, it's not significantly impacting anything, right?
Okay.
That's why I think you're going to see, combined trend, mixed trend. People will continue to use these existing applications, and at least in the larger enterprises. If you go to smaller enterprises and all that, it could be a different story. Smaller enterprises today, probably they are using 4 or 5 different applications to really manage their whole operations.
Got it.
There, I think there is a possibility for either some other company to develop very broad application that covers a lot of things. And then that makes it very, very efficient for the smaller firms. Instead of using 5 different applications, they might just take one application and use it.
Yes.
Those applications are not there. I think there is a scope for companies to really develop the products. Or if I wouldn't be surprised if some of the smaller companies jump in and then develop their own things also.
Okay.
But I think as you move up the ladder of these enterprises, bigger and then medium-sized enterprises, I think they'll continue to use existing applications for mission-critical needs. And the non-mission critical needs, it's quite possible that they'll just either they develop or they'll ask somebody to develop, I think, a very reasonable price.
That's a wonderful insight about it. And while talking about different sized companies, there's one more thing that I observed. Like nowadays, I think, as I said, AI is reigning and a lot of people are adapting to AI. But I had seen a lot of smaller and mid-scale companies are ready to get into this AI the landscape, but I haven't seen a lot of large enterprises making that complete transformation to AI. I felt that something is stopping them.
I think multiple things, right? For example, when you're a smaller company, or the process is simpler, right? You don't involve a lot of people. You just make a quick decision. You'd be able to really adapt. There are actually smaller companies are at advantage when it comes to adapting this AI. You can small team just jump on it and then change everything, right? You can develop things faster and all. But when you are a little bit larger company, you have some established process, right? You need to really involve folks from business side and then the management. You involve everybody to make sure that requirements are properly defined. If you take any software development or anything, like everything is not just software engineering, right? There is a defining the requirements that itself could take months. Right. So that piece, it's very difficult to really compress in the enterprises today because they have established process. Whereas in the smaller companies, they might be able to really just take the decision to really dismantle the process and then adapt something new very quickly. So that's why I think that is one reason why the probably adoption is a little slower. And I have also seen one thing actually. They're adapting the tools like Cloud Code and Cursor for developing, but they follow the existing software development methodology like Scrums and things like that. That is a little bit older process and the newer tools. I think they butt against each other when you really put them together. Whereas Scrum Masters are asking people to really break everything into user stories and estimate every user story, whereas Cursor actually doesn't need one user story. It needs the whole product requirement document. It can just spit out the code. And most of the developers using these tools are really operating at that macro level, not really micro story level. So that that process, conflict is there. So it almost like you need to define a new process, right? A lot of companies are not really sure what to do.
Right.
Savvy companies are actually defining a new process. Some smaller, revised process to really adopt this AI development faster. So those are some of the reasons. Also, in the larger enterprise, another thing is, it's developing these agents or AI solutions are relatively easy as a proof of concept and things like that. When you really have to take into production, there are a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. Like, you want to make sure it can be scaled for the number of users and things like that they have. And also, developing POC is one thing, and then deploying has issues, right? You need to make sure that you have infrastructure to really scale these things. The second is security, right? Security issues are a bigger concern for enterprises. That is the reason why I think they're really behind. It's not that AI itself is insecure. If your enterprise has vulnerabilities already, today they may not be exposed because people are using it. They may not really know that they have access to something. Whereas in case of AI, it basically can get everything that has access to it.
Yes.
So it may not be new vulnerabilities, although it could have new vulnerabilities, but I think it's definitely going to expose existing vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that all the existing security holes are actually closed before you bring AI. I think that fear, that is there. Those need to be addressed.
Right. I mean, what you just said, it's a major issue. I mean, see, I have watched Transformers. Not Transformers. Sorry, what was that movie where Arnold? He's a robot, Terminator. Yeah, I have watched Terminator, and I couldn't help but relate all those things to that movie now. Maybe because I'm a huge fan. But there is this problem with people thinking that AI might go rogue when you are applying AI to a lot of such. I mean, literally all the spaces that our life is involved with. It's not just about application development or software development industry. Almost every sector is being dominated by AI nowadays. So when it comes to such a thing, there is a fear of control being lost. And that's where the security and the compliance issues are gonna emerge. How do you think that people will be able to finally tackle all these things and be sure that nothing's gonna go wrong, even if we are gonna adapt to this new progress, etc.?
Yeah, I think there are. So today, if you take let's take the scenario today in enterprises, right? If you take in enterprises today, everything that happens is a deterministic flow, right? We pre-code all the steps of the workflow.
Right.
So that's how we know exactly the behavior of the processes. Tomorrow, if you have these AI agents, I think if you let them really create the flows on the fly, that could be an issue. So you're going completely from a deterministic workflow to, undeterministic workflow, completely. So when you go that way, there's definitely fear that AI might use tools that it's not supposed to use, or things like that, right? We need to be able to come to a point we can control that, right? We need to have a process to really govern in terms of what can be used, what cannot be used by AI, or if it chooses to use some tools, maybe it needs to get approval from the human being.
Yes.
Right? So I don't think in enterprise you want to go completely a non-deterministic way. You want to have some determinism.
Got it.
And some AI nodes to handle, decisions without really using a bunch of rules. Where if the rules can work for your process, you really don't need AI in this.
Right.
Just use the simple rules. Don't try to fit simple rules into AI unnecessarily. That will cause unnecessary expenses. It's not required.
Right.
But if you could potentially have, explosion of rules. If you have to handle all the scenarios, that's when you want to use the AI.
Yes.
Right. When you depend on AI for handling this explosion of rules, there are possibility for things to go wrong, right? And you want to determine some process. You have to put some process in place where AI will be able to seek approval.
Like rules.
Yeah, not necessarily rules. You just give all the tools. For example, let's say your enterprise has like 1,000 APIs, and you give all the 1,000 APIs to AI, and then you ask it to something to do.
Yeah.
It could do something really rubbish, right? Instead of that, I think you should be able to really just based on the question, you should be able to narrow down the set of tools that can be given and give it to this AI. And if it chooses to use those things, there could be some of these operations are maybe dangerous.
Right.
If it is using only read-only operations, you're fine. If it chooses to really, delete
Execute
something,
yeah.
right, update something, those are potentially dangerous operations.
Right.
Maybe in that case, it needs to get approval from the human being and then execute it.
Yeah.
So that is where the flow is a little bit dynamic, but at the same time, you also have the governance.
Right.
So, I actually wrote something on the LinkedIn previously to refer to this as a governed dynamism.
Okay.
The flow is a dynamic flow, but at the same time, there is a sort of a governance because whenever it chooses to use certain tools, you're asking the human being to really approve it. So you get the best of the both worlds, right? So that is one way of doing it.
Right.
But I'm sure there are different patterns. I think that governance, once we have handle, I think we'll be able to make enterprises adapt better.
Governed dynamism, that's an interesting term.
Yeah.
So it's more like not completely removing the human intervention. You'll be there to monitor probably and also to approve, disapprove whatever is happening.
Yeah.
So that AI won't be taking the main driver's seat.
Yes.
You still have the control, and that's the safest way to move forward, I believe.
Yeah, I think if we can really put that in place, I think that would make it a bit easier for enterprises to adopt these things, I think.
So that you won't go off the guardrails.
Yeah, guardrails, yeah.
While answering, you just said how certain companies kind of inject AI into their workflow, even if it's unnecessary. I had seen certain things like this. For example, AI is the trend. So it's kind of given that people believe they should always be with the trend. They should move with the trend. So even, let's say that I own a company. I have a company and everything is running fine with me. Everything is moving smooth in my process, whatever workflows are there. But still I'm seeing everywhere and AI is dominating all the other sectors. All my peers are using AI. I don't have AI. Then I'll be like, okay, even I need AI. So I'm going to inject AI into my workflow. Things are going to get messy. So I have seen such things happening too with a couple of other people. So do you think all the organizations or certain organizations are kind of jumping into this whole AI thing?
I think there could be confusion for sure. There is definitely there is anxiety.
Right.
I mean,
fear of missing out.
Yeah, I mean, that fear of missing out, right? There's a pressure, and then from the management and all that, they just want to make sure their organization is also AI organization. They're taking the advantage of it. In that process, I think the people that are at the implementation level might be having anxiety because there is an ask for them to really use AI at the same time, not sure really how to use it.
Right.
So I think the best way is, don't just stay very abstract level. Take one really, concrete use case,
right,
and see what is the advantage of implementing it. How can AI be used in this?
Right.
If your workflow or process is defined, around a finite number of rules, like 5 or 6 rules, and there is not going to be any other possibility, there is no scope for AI in that case, right? But you have, your possibilities could be more if you use AI. I mean, if you can take advantage of AI, if you can do more than what you're doing today, and other cases and things like that, there is a opportunity to use it.
Right.
So always, I think, take one concrete use case and see how it will just improve your throughput or output or whatever.
Okay.
If you do that, I think that is good. Otherwise, you will be confusion. If you do anything with confusion, it's not going to solve it.
Yes.
So,
So it's a basic level analysis is required before jumping into anything.
Yeah, if you just do it for the sake of doing, that not only AI, it never works.
Right.
Yeah.
So being a business leader with almost 30 35 plus experience in this industry, you have seen a lot of things being shifting, in the technology space,
Yeah.
and you're also in this software delivery, sector. Where do you think the industry is headed to now? Being, say, we are witnessing a lot of progression that's happening around us. So where do you think all these things are heading to? How are you implementing all these changes in Expeed as well?
Okay, that's great. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, definitely, I have seen a lot of shifts. I mean, I worked in the days where even Windows was not there.
Oh, okay.
You remember those green screens? Maybe you guys are too young.
I can't even think of a time like that.
Yeah. So I've seen that, and then later Windows has come, and after that things moved into. There were days. I mean, you have Oracle database or some database. Basically, everything is done with that, right?
Right.
So later, I have seen trends where client server has come up, and then after that, web has come. I mean, all those trends were different. I feel like when I look at today, it is something. It feels like something radically different. The shift that we are going through. They always, if you look at the previous trends, they improved what you did, and then they just provided.
Yes,
And they expanded for more possibilities. So, but it still did not take human out of the loop. You just need more human beings, right? Whereas this trend, it's basically automating many things, right? I mean, software development, that used to be the most complex thing.
Right.
And it's basically tackling that, and it's compressing the cycles. So it's very, very different. So, I mean, if you look at software development historically, it takes years and then tons of people to produce a meaningful enterprise application.
Right.
So you have your asset is an application, right? We are actually, as you know, we are in the software development, right? We are actually going through that same process. We are looking at how we are delivering the applications to the customer, and we are changing our process as well. Right. I mean, I just spoke previously about how the process and then tools are affecting, but we started with the tools actually. We started adapting tools like Cloud Code and Cursor to really compress the development cycles. Right?
Right.
So if we are working with the customer, we are using these tools to really just reduce the time frame and also cost for developing the software.
Right.
That's definitely one thing we are going through.
Right.
The second thing is, it's not just compressing the development cycles. That's one aspect of the AI. The second is actually the kind of applications you develop.
Right.
So the application by itself has to be AI native, AI first. In a sense, if you can use the tools to compress, but the behavior of the application also will have to change. Because you remember we were talking about the number of screens could be reduced and things like that. We have to really design the applications in a different way, right? Instead of designing the use cases that have long list of screens that user has to navigate through, we probably have to think from AI agentic perspective. All the use cases, instead of human being executing these things, can AI execute these things?
Got it.
So we have to really start from that angle. So, and then first approach should be let AI agent really navigate this flow, and exceptions, see how a human being can handle the exceptions or provide input into the agentic flow. So I mean, instead of human being being the first actor, look at AI agents being the first actor, and then human being will be exception handler / supervisor of the process. Right?
Got it.
But I think we are looking at from both angles. We're using the tools to compress the development cycles. We're also changing the nature of the applications so that these applications will stay longer and future-proof for the customers.
Okay. Right from the thinking level, you'll have to, start analyzing how to go forward.
Yes.
So I have to ask you this: is this at any level scary? Is it easy? Is it difficult?
I think it's all the above, right? It is. I came from the software development, and then as a software developer, um, as a passionate software developer, I would say,
Right.
I'm very excited. Right?
Obviously, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that you can do is endless. So that is exciting part.
Yes.
The scary part is not only me, everybody can do that.
Right, right.
So that's the scary part.
It's about being the best player.
Yeah. So now your value, you really have to question what is the real value of you. Is it the software development, or is it something else? I would say the value is actually more about your ideas and spotting the problems and identifying ways that you can automate things.
Right.
I think the value moves up the stack. You know, that's how I think you'll be more relevant.
Okay.
Exciting and scary.
So thank you, Rao. It was nice having you, and we had a very nice conversation about whatever is happening in our technology space regarding AI, which is like a big booming factor right now. How companies are adapting to it, how the kind of challenges that they are facing, the way they should probably be handling all these changes, sudden changes in the industry, etc. And also we got to know how Expeed is handling AI and how you are planning to move forward with all the changes and the kind of vision that you have for this company. So it's nice having you here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. Yeah, it has been nice. Yeah.
Thank you.